I am hereby calling the special board meeting to order. Maine Township Town Hall being held remotely. This being Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. It's a special township meeting that is being called in accordance with section 80-10B of the Illinois Township Code 60 ILCS 1/80-10B. Said meeting was called by myself, Township Supervisor Laura Morass. This meeting will be conducted remotely because of the ongoing public health disaster presented by COVID-19. We have published the link in order for people who called or wanted to participate to do so. And with that being said, I would ask everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Pete, there you go.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States
of America and to the republic
for which it
stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Clerk Talamas, can you call the roll?
Absolutely. Highway Commissioner Kazmierczak, Assessor Moylan Cry, Clerk Gialamas here, Supervisor Morass,
Here.
Trustee Jones. She's here, she's muted. Trustee McKenzie.
Here.
Trustee Carabota.
Here.
Trustee Sweeney.
Here.
All right. And first, I'm going to, first order of business is public participation. Does anybody at this time have any public participation? All right, hearing none. We will now discuss the first item of business, which is a discussion and vote on an interim COVID policy for deep cleaning staff resident safety measures. It was all sent to everybody. So I would make a motion to okay. I'd make a motion to adopt the resolution to enter. Oh no, that's a different one. Strike that.
Ends in 5, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I just have to find what I did with it. I printed it out and now let's go. So I would make a motion to, it's 2020-5. Is that what it is, Pete?
Yeah, that's yeah, it'd be resolution number 2020-5. And I would second you.
Thank you, Dave. And I would waive the reading there, because I have to admit, Susan. And having a motion and a second. And basically, just to sum what this says, there's a typo, I believe, on page 2 that we have to correct, or the second paragraph. What this says is that if 2 or more people tested positive at the township, then we would be deep cleaning, and that we would close if there was a period of time, close the physical town hall if there was a period of time lapse between the positive testing and the deep cleaning ability, and the people could work remotely for that period of time. Those were the 2 parts to that policy. Is there any discussion or question?
Seems reasonable to me.
So, Trustee Sweeney.
Let's see. On page 9, at the top, it says subrecipient must indicate to the county.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. We're on that. Never mind.
I was gonna say, this is like a 1-page deal.
Yes. Sorry.
You scared me.
I'm moving on.
So that means we passed it. This one's actually easy. All right. Anybody? All right, so I'm gonna call the roll. Clerk Lemons, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Marask,
Yes.
Trustee Jones,
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie. Trustee McKenzie?
Did you call me?
Yes.
I'm having trouble with my internet connection for some reason. Sorry for interrupting. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Yes.
So you're a yes vote? Yep, Rose a yes.
Yes.
I think she's a
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Trustee Carabota
Yes.
and Trustee Sweeney.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Or resolution passed. Now, we move to the one that Trustee Sweeney was referencing. And that is Maine Township Resolution number 2020-4. I would note, I think Vicky is here. If anybody has any questions on this, there she is. I see her. Worked very hard on this. And so I just want to give you a little background. This is not the FEMA one. This is the county one. And at first they were not going to give any money to townships based on something they had read. Then they decided that after like Al Riley complained to them that that's what the money was for, they reversed positions. They awarded us $5,000. And Vicky, if you want to take it away from there.
So what this is from the CARES Act funding, which was established. They established a coronavirus relief fund, which provides aid to eligible local governments to assist with our COVID-19 related expenditures. Cook County was eligible for this funding and is allocating a portion of the funds to townships. Like Laura said, we were allocated $5,000. A requirement for our application is an intergovernmental agreement with the county, as well as a board resolution that authorizes that intergovernmental agreement. So do you have any, Susan, I know you had a question about something, you said it's page 9?
I have a couple questions. There is an application that has to be submitted with what the actual expenses are that we're asking for, correct? Or is it just this flat out $5,000?
No, it is not. So what we have is there is a list of documents. Let's see, there's a list that they gave us of everything they need. There is going to be an application. And we have already submitted an application with FEMA. So this is going to be for some of our remainder, the most recent fees that we, or recent expenditures that we've had. So did you want me to tell you like what they need, what they're asking for from us in their checklist? Is that what you're asking, Susan?
Yeah, I had actually written to the township officials of Cook County and asked them what the application process, they said that there's an application that has to be filled out by the township.
We did it. I mean, that's what the whole thing is.
Working on it right now.
So that's what is that what you're going to read, Vicky?
No, yes. So I'll tell you everything they need. They need our completed application. In the application, they just need a description of what it is that we.
I'm having a hard time listening to you. Can you possibly take off? Is the mask at a place where you can?
You guys okay?
Hey, it's her.
Thank you.
So within the application itself, they are just asking for a list of what our expenditures are, what those expenditures were used for, and basically the relationship between those expenditures and how that serves our residents and how that, you know, relates to this emergency. So they require that. They require, so yes, proof of eligible expenses incurred. So that'll be our invoices, our general ledger showing payments, our signed W-9, a vendor form from each vendor, including their W-9s, this intergovernmental agreement, the board resolution that authorizes the intergovernmental agreement, and then our most recent available financial statement. So I am hoping to get this out on Monday. The deadline is October 30th.
So did our expenses equal 5,000 exactly, or?
No, actually, the most recent expenditures we have are more than that,
Okay.
but we were allotted 5,000. So the expenditures that I plan on submitting for this particular grant are the most recent tent rentals, which I believe one was like 720, one was like 500 because it was for the end of the tent rental. the most recent cleaning of the facility that we had, and our most recent legal bill, because legal expenses are included as an expenditure that they accept. So that is what we plan on submitting. Those all add up to a little more than 5,000, but that way we'll use our entire allotment.
And
Okay.
also, just to add to that, it has to be separate from any expenses that we list for FEMA.
Yes,
So-
and that's in the agreement. It says that we cannot,
Right.
these are things that we have not asked any other agency for funding for. You can't apply for the same expense to be reimbursed from more than one agency, so.
Which obviously makes sense, but so, you know, and the FEMA one is far different.
Yes,
Laura, roughly, what is the FEMA one? Is that?
Well, the FEMA one is supposedly much more. I mean, it is contemplated, you know, and Carrie Lynn might be able to speak to this a little more, but I think that's contemplated to be 75% of all your expenses since the COVID crisis that are documented and related, which is why since March 16th, which I think is the day, maybe March 22nd, that I've had everybody keep like specific track of this, and we've separated out anything COVID related. So that application, Vicki has attended, I want to say 4 or 5 or 6 seminars, and talked to, you know, all the appropriate people. I've talked to several of them. Carrie Lynn has been involved in that, and so we expect to get 75% of what those expenses are, and those expenses were fairly high. So because you got to count in like all the deep cleanings, the closure, the food pantry, extra, just to name a few off the top of my head. And legal bills for that period of time, dealing with resolutions and whatnot. So those are all, again, having to be documented, same type of thing, but it's just 2 different, you know, when they're both through the CARES Act, but they obviously cannot be duplicated.
in the status of the FEMA one right now, it is currently pending CRC project development, which is Center for Resource Control. So right now, FEMA, we are a subrecipient of IEMA with that grant. So right now, FEMA and IEMA have that grant. They're taking a look at it. They will contact us if they have any questions, and hopefully we can recoup back 75% of those original funds that were from March to like October 1st. And then for this source of funding, which is the IGA that you guys have to vote on today, that is just going to be for the $5,000 that we would be a subrecipient of Cook County. So that the IGA for today is only for the Cook County grant. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not for the FEMA one. So that's what you guys have today to vote on.
Okay, it would be just helpful, I guess, at some point, not necessarily now, but to know how much we exceeded our budget by, you know, that's COVID related, that is not going to be reimbursed. So we can do that for the
As soon
future.
as I find out what
Yeah.
isn't being reimbursed,
Whether it's FEMA or at the state level.
and with the FEMA one, there is a 25% cost share, like a local cost share. So they will only cover 75%. Again, if there's any other places that you guys hear that are supporting local government and have reimbursement programs and things like that, we're getting to be experts at this now. So you know, feel free to let us know if you hear of any other, you know, agencies out there that have it, or if allotments increase or anything like that.
And that's why it was so helpful when Chris Welch came, I think 2 meetings ago, because he alerted, I didn't know that these were 2 separate things. You know,
Yes.
so that was really helpful. And then there's some more that are possibilities, but I'm not quite sure because they require an economically depressed area. They require damage from riots, things of that nature, business interruption grants. I don't know, you know, we're looking at that too. But of course you will get the price. I mean, we have the entire, you know, price tag of everything that is COVID related, and then whatever is recouped. We're hoping it's 75% from one aid, you know, from FEMA, and then this little bit from the county.
And all the deadlines for these are coming up. So the FEMA deadline, I believe, is right around the corner. And then for this particular grant, the deadline to turn in everything is October 30th. And we found out about it, that we were eligible, like, I think, Carrie Lynn, it was like October
Yeah.
versus something like that. So
Like literally the day before we did it.
it's ready.
Because at first they weren't gonna do it.
Well, thank you, Vicky.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
the only
Thank
other
you.
thing on this agreement that I just wanted to point out is that on page 9 at the top, it says that the subrecipient must indicate to the county by September 30th. I assume that got moved to October something.
No, we actually had to
No, we
do
did it.
Oh, you did do it by September? Oh, okay.
That's what we're saying. We learned on September
Okay.
29th or 28th. And I said, Vicky,
All that was required on the 30th was a notice of intent that we're
Right.
going to claim it, so that was filed.
not the actual list. The
Yeah.
actual list that she's referencing is due October 3rd.
And one other.
Or the whole application, I should say.
I was just curious just to know if we, because it said under eligible expenses, expenses for establishing and operating public telemedicine capabilities for COVID-related treatment. With Richard, I just wondered if some of those expenses were in there because we added telemedicine, I think, specifically for COVID, right?
Those were, I can actually answer that. That would, all of the expenses that were incurred for telehealth, such as webcams, Zoom memberships and things like that, those actually were all included in the FEMA grant.
Oh, okay.
So for the Cook County one, it's just, the Cook County $5,000 one is just our expenses that we've incurred basically just recently. But because we were able to, as soon as it started, we really were able to initiate a lot of procedures really fast so we could keep up a continued level of service. We incurred a lot of those expenses right at the beginning, so they have been applied for. So now we're just waiting.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna make a motion to adopt Maine Township Resolution number 2020-4. Resolution to enter into an intergovernmental and subrecipient agreement between Maine Township and the County of Cook for coronavirus relief funds. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, having 2 seconds simultaneously. Is there any further discussion? Is there any public participation? Hearing none, Clerk Lamas, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Marask,
Yes.
Trustee Jones,
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie,
Yes.
Trustee Carabota,
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes.
All right, so moving right along. Next order of business is continuing discussion and vote, hopefully, on elected officials' compensation for the next 4-year term. And I believe Trustee Sweeney asked Dana for some new sheet, but it's really the old sheet, but averaged out, taking out other townships that aren't in Cook County. So I believe that was sent to all of you today.
Yes, may I be recognized? Actually,
Yes,
there,
Trustee Sweeney, sure.
yes, as I noticed when she resent what she had sent before, New Trier was in there twice, so I asked
Took
that
out.
taken out, which she did adjust. And we also talked about the Northfield, Cook County elected official salaries. For supervisor, we had a substantially different amount. And the reason is because, as you know, Laura, that there's also a separate job you have being supervisor to have the road district treasurer, which currently you get $1,000 annually. So every township has something different. So I had to rerun those, backing out what that road district treasurer amount was. And so she sent a new one, of which I sent to you. If you can do a screen share, I can, if you can.
No, we got it. We all got it.
Pardon?
I said, I think we all got it, the new one.
Yeah, if you can do a screen share, then I'll be able to add that.
I think I can because that's on my You're welcome to share it. My proposal is going off of the township officials of Illinois, not averaging only Cook County Township. So you're welcome to screen share it, but I don't have it on screen share.
It's disabled. If the host could enable me for screen sharing, I can show it.
If I can figure out how. Hey, Rich, how do I enable that?
I took care of it. It should work now.
He says it works now.
Okay. Can you see this?
No.
Okay, because it doesn't say on my end it did. So let me do that. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh, it's not letting me.
I saw it, it's enabled.
Okay, usually it lets me do this and I can't,
You want to just give your highlights?
so,
Mhm.
okay, so, looking at the supervisor's salary, and averaging that of Cook County, that amount was $26,004. And that's what the average was for 13 of the supervisors that replied to the survey for Cook County. For the clerks, it is 20,000. For the assessors, 20,493. For the assessors, 22,656. And for the highway commissioner, 32,643.
I'm sorry, your assessor one, the average in the Cook County that you did shows 32,634. Was that fixed?
No,
Is that-
that was for the highway commissioner.
No,
and that
I'm
is
looking at assessor.
No, that was for the highway commissioner.
Okay,
The
highway
assessor's
commissioner is
22,000.
32.
I had shown 23,520.
539, right. That's what I'm sorry, I thought I just said that.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's what, all right, so.
How much is the
I'm
assessor?
gonna start over. What's the assessor? And your average?
Okay. The assessor is 22,656.
Yeah, but your sheet shows 23,539 is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
So what
Isn't that an older sheet?
No,
looking
that's the one
I think
that
that's an
she,
older sheet.
no, that's the one they did today, taking out the non-Cook County one.
No, she had to adjust the Northfield line 5 is, I got to get this thing up.
That's okay, I got it, I'm following you. You got to adjust the Northfield one?
Yes, if you look at the other one, that I read the correct totals.
Okay. What's the highway commissioner again?
32,643.
Okay.
634 or 643?
643.
She came up with 643. I had 634, so whatever, they're close. 643. The trustees was 5,075. The assessor again was 22,656. The clerk is 20,493, and the supervisor's $26,004.
Okay.
Why don't we just, for the sake of people that are viewing or will be viewing this, Susan, could you give us what the currents are for supervisor, clerk, assessor, and highway?
Yes, the current supervisor is 35,369. The current road district treasurer, which is something that the supervisor is responsible for, is $1,000. So that's separate and in addition. The highway commissioner currently is 73,721. The town clerk is 21,845. The town trustee is 5,970. And the assessor is 31,835.
Thank you.
I had the current motion on the floor is the motion I made in July, which was to pass the prior salaries without any increase and with the benefits of the increased contribution up to the limit of the ACA, with the 15% going back, an additional 15% going back into the line item as we've been doing for the our salary line item. So that's the motion that's on the floor, that's been on the floor, tabled from time to time. And it was already seconded, so that's the motion we are discussing. And so discussion.
I would like to make an amendment and had presented a separate resolution. And for some reason, I can't get the screen share up right now. So I would like to amend with a separate resolution that I would like to read.
Can we finish talking about the supervisor's resolution or proposal first before we amend it? Because
I think on a motion to amend, I think we have to deal with the motion to amend.
Yeah, I think we need Carrie Lynn's guidance. I think we did that already.
Because I'm curious, the supervisor had mentioned that she was going by what township officials of Illinois was suggesting, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. Because honestly, averages, although it sounds logical, it's really not, because none of these townships are the same as far as population, services that they offer, employees, and so an average isn't really a true comparison. Even though it sounds like it would be, it's really not. So I'm interested in hearing more about what the township officials of Illinois recommend.
Well, and that was, thank you, Kim, with respect to that, that was in the August board packet. I'm sure you all still have that. And it is done by zone, recognizing that zone 1 has far different, and averaging is apples and oranges. In this particular sense, if you take a look even at Susan's sheet, Warren is smaller and offers less services than we do. No offense, Warren, I'm sure you're a fabulous. Their supervisor is making $89,954. Nobody's asking for that. I mean, they are like all over the map. Also, averages are, there's no basis in, the township officials of Illinois in the perspective, and that was pages 25 through 32 of the July, August, and they're the experts. in this. Quite frankly, we are not. It is our job to do this. And we have preliminary levy numbers. Those numbers again will be reduced. So there's no, how do I say this? There is no actuarial or, in my opinion, and in the township officials of Illinois opinion, and we are a member, so we do a lot of things with them, and I do like to follow the experts in this area. That it doesn't really make any kind of sense to average. Niles is a wonderful township. They have way less in the unincorporated, way less that they are responsible for. Also, Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Niles has a freestanding food pantry.
When are you ever wrong, Laura?
Oh, it's on.
I'll get that one in there.
It's on tape. Wow. But Niles does not, I don't believe, have a freestanding food pantry. I don't believe they do. And so, obviously that is a big thing that we do, a big portion that we serve. Elk Grove is a far, far smaller township. Most of these, Maine Township is one of the largest townships. Carrie Lynn may be able to speak to this a little more because she represents so many of them. But we're nothing like Algonquin or Warren or Fremont, which I know is smaller. I absolutely know Fremont.
Yeah, I've never heard of a system of averaging elected officials' salaries to determine what should be right for a public body. And it's even, and when you, I think it's kind of hard. A lot of people don't understand township government, but when you think of it in the context of a municipality, all right, let's look at the mayor of Wadsworth and Lori Lightfoot. And it's like, townships are very different in their sizes, in their programs they offer, in their equalized assessed valuation, and as to whether or not their officials are full-time or part-time and the amount of staff that they have. So that's just not usually the way that people do it.
The Niles Food Pantry, though, is the one located in Skokie. You know about that one. That's
I do.
You're saying, but you're saying that's not independent. That's greater food.
Right. I am. And we are, the food pantry is part of Maine Township, and at this point, and since March, has been incredibly used. And Trustee Jones, I think Trustee McKenzie had her hand up first, and then I will recognize you. Trustee McKenzie.
Thank you. Carrie Lynn, do you have suggestions or recommendations on how to do this? Because, averaging is a data point that's used, quite often. We've used it as a board. The other way that this board, not us, but the previous Maine Township board went about it is just to pick a percentage.
I'm sorry.
And, that's just as arbitrary if you're going to call an average.
Couldn't hear.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't hear you. Faded out.
I'm having some issues.
Oh, you can hear you now.
Okay.
Right. I just wanted to hear the part about how the previous board picked it. We lowered it 25%.
The previous board, I believe, just used a percentage. Right. So, that's arbitrary in and of itself. So I think using averages at least takes into account all the points that we have available to us. So I don't think it's out of the norm. I think that averages are used quite often for things like this. I hear you, Carrie Lynn, just asking what do you recommend? If it's not averages, do you recommend a straight percentage, up or down, whatever the board decides? Is that, less offensive or more relevant? I mean, I'm not sure how else to do this. I've studied a lot of these townships, and I looked at the toy article, and I find myself coming back to, well, we're going to have to just pick, because they are all different. And the Troy is not an expert on setting the elected officials' salaries either. They just compiled a bunch of data, which I appreciate. But that's what we have here too, a compilation of a bunch of data. So either we use it, and one way to use it is, am I
Okay.
still
No,
there?
No, you're still here.
All right,
I
keep
can still see you.
going. I'll answer your question in a minute. Sorry, the screen just kind of.
Okay. Or we use, an arbitrary percentage. I'm not sure which is better, but I mean, guidance from you would be appreciated.
So the problem with averaging, as I see it, and since we have a couple of lawyers on the board, I'll just use law firms as an analogy. You can't say, okay, this is the average law partner salary for this geographical area. And the reason that doesn't work is you have law firms that have 2 attorneys, you have law firms that have 10 attorneys, you have law firms that have 60 attorneys. I mean, so you wouldn't determine the average law firm partner salary by just looking at all the law firms in an area. So that's what you're doing right now with townships. And well, we're looking at all these townships. So like I said, you have a lot of townships that are small, you have some townships that are large, and you have some townships that perform markedly different services. And so what townships usually look at are, okay, not which townships are like geographically the closest to us, but townships that are roughly the same size, that have roughly the same equalized assessed valuation for the property in their district, because then that'll show you, I mean, if we have $500,000 worth of EAV versus 7 million, there are more services that are expected. So if you look at Hanover Township and Schaumburg Township and townships like Maine Township that have a lot of services, you're gonna find one thing, but there's also a lot of townships that don't nearly provide the same amount of services that you do. So what I think you should look at is which townships have roughly the same EAV, which ones have like roughly the same employees and programs and things like that. Because then you're comparing more apples to apples. Just like, well, with my analogy about law firms, it wouldn't make sense to average lawyer salaries of all law firms in an area, but maybe comparing 20 to 40 lawyer firms to other 20 to 40 lawyer firms makes sense, and larger firms to larger firms. I mean, then you're doing a comparison that is more apples to apples. And generally, once salaries have been established in a county by township officials, they usually kind of follow the same thing from year to year with just a COLA adjustment. So I mean, really, most of my townships are saying, okay, this is what we were at last time, and this is what the cost of living has been. We're going to increase everybody by 2.5% or whatever. That's what they mostly are doing, except for those which are having unique issues like abolishing their road districts. So they have their public officials taking over additional responsibilities. So they're changing positions and maybe giving more or taking away less if they're reducing the responsibilities. That's how they usually do it.
Also, Carrie Lynn, along your lines, and also now that Susan has her share screen, wouldn't you also look at population of the, and Maine Township by far has the highest population. I mean, we serve 135, I can't, there's something in the way of, it's
That isn't another
177. I'm
significant
sorry, I'm talking.
point the number of employees to have, because I believe we have a lot more employees doing some of these services that we offer.
I missed that.
Yeah, we all did.
I believe she was talking, looking at
But that-
numbers of employees, et cetera.
Yeah, but the number of employees, I mean, that usually just would demonstrate how many people you need using the services.
Right. That would actually support,
Higher salaries.
right. Because you have more, the elected official has more responsibility.
How?
Because you are in charge of more people. You would not believe how much of my time is spent on personnel issues. I mean, just to take
Yeah,
this,
for example, just recently, I mean, just taking COVID as an example,
right.
the township has had a number of COVID-related employee issues.
Oh my,
And if this was a 5-person township, the supervisor wouldn't.
Sorry, I'm having such a hard time. I am losing internet service. I'm sorry, I can't keep up with you guys. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should call in. Should I call in?
Could you reboot, Claire? Give it another shot?
It's an internet connection problem.
I would try it on your phone and just
So
Don't
I'm gonna
use your-
call in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
and then while you do that, do you want me to go ahead with Trustee Jones's comment? You can hear it, right, Trustee McKenzie?
No, it goes in and out, but don't worry. I mean, I'm gonna have to deal with this. Sorry.
All right, Trustee Jones, what is your comment?
Okay, so one thing that is kind of glaring is the highway commissioner, which will be reduced under Susan's proposal from $73,721 to $32,634, which is a difference of $41,087. Our highway commissioner works full-time. And that's a very important job, is for safety, well-being, health of our constituents, our 135,000 people, snow removal, flood mitigation, garbage pickup. I mean, these guys work. I see them working on the streets all the time, and the highway commissioner is a full-time job. And I don't think that it's reasonable to consider that $32,634 for that job would be sufficient for someone to want that position. It
Well,
wouldn't
they
be worth
also
it.
are on call 24/7 in a flood
Right.
and a snowstorm.
Also,
As
the
is the
assessor,
supervisor.
the assessor's office would be reduced by $8,296. And I don't know if you've been in there, if any of you have been in there during the appeals process. It is crazy. And that is also, I'm not sure if Assessor Moylan Cry would say it's a full-time job, but she puts in many hours, many hours a week, especially during the appeals process. So I don't think, and again, whether Claire believes it or not, or agrees, I don't see why 25% is arbitrary. We had a lot of discussion. You may think it was arbitrary. At the time, we didn't feel it was arbitrary. And that's a significant reduction. The highway commissioner was making $98,000 at the time. And he had a private car, which he no longer has. So I actually, and averaging is a silly way to do it, because it is not a true comparison to population, to services. So those are my
the great
comments.
percentage decrease is? I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you, Kim. I'm just trying
A
to
decrease. Well,
talk
you
about
kinda
like
are,
ways
Claire.
to review this. No, I'm not. I'm just trying to figure out what the best way is by getting some ideas from Carrie Lynn. That's
But
all.
even if.
But I
even
mean,
if
I don't
it's
think that it's a very professional thing to say that something is silly when another trustee comes up with an idea. I think that we should respect each other's ways of looking and
Well, I
maybe
don't-
say, hey,
excuse
can we
me.
look
I
at something
agree.
else?
So I'm
Excuse me,
sorry.
Say
I'm
something
Excuse
else.
me, I was still speaking.
Is
I
kind
don't
of
think,
offensive. That's all I'm
but
saying.
I'm offended by the fact that you're going back 4 years and discussing something when you weren't part of the conversation. Trustee Sweeney was there, and you're just arbitrarily saying that it was arbitrary when you really don't know, Claire. And so as far as respecting goes,
You're right.
I think
I was
you should
trying to
respect.
find out.
Well, but
But I
what's the
can tell
point?
you,
But what's the point? It was 4 years ago. The
Why don't
the
we
fact
just
is
move
that it was
on?
reduced, whether it was arbitrary or not is really irrelevant. The fact is that the salaries were reduced 25% at that time. Whether you agree with it or not is irrelevant, because for the past 4 years, those are the salaries we've been using.
all right, so, your internet seems to be
I
working.
think that I have been misunderstood. I was not criticizing how you came about your reduction. I was just trying to figure out what it was and just pointed out that that was another way to view this. That's all. I was not criticizing what you did or anything close to that. So if
No,
that
no,
came
I'm gonna
across as a
diffuse it.
criticism, I apologize.
I'm sorry. I think that, what it may have come across was that it was like our reducing by 25% equals the same type of arbitrariness as averaging. And that, I think, is what Kim is trying to say, that those are two different,
Yes.
that's apples and oranges. That it was still a proportional across the board reduction that took into account, zone 1. And so, it helped the town, and, and frankly, to be really brutally honest here, now I understand why it was 25% higher, having done this job for 4 years. And, it's, as supervisor, whoever the next supervisor is, and we do have to remember, we're setting this for the next board. All right. So, here's the deal, that we are setting this for the next board, and Claire's right, let's do this rationally. And, but, Kim is right that we didn't do it arbitrarily. There was an entire method. Everybody thought it should be, health should be contributed more to. And we were all in favor of, reducing, if it caused a burden on the taxpayer. It actually hasn't really had an effect. We've always had a 1.4 and a 1.6 tax burden. It hasn't changed. We're still under 2 cents. And in fact, in the last 4 years, I do think we've increased services. And what Carrie Lynn was saying is, when you look at the total population and you look at the kinds of things Toy did, and the Toy was a little more than a survey, they sort of did give a guideline as to how to do this. And so one of the things is, like the different amount of services, the different amount, and we really, I think, have done a great job of consolidating jobs, reducing payroll, and consistently, as you all have done, reducing the levy. And so I don't think, and this is my opinion, but it's also based on the, I know what I do in the township, every day, and I know how many hours it takes a week to deal with all of the various issues. And it's at least, at least 40, and sometimes more, depending on, and so it does sometimes become a full-time job, but such is life. But there's that, and that's for supervisor. And I think Kim's point, and it's very well taken, we as a board have to decide, like the average that Susan has, and Susan, would you mind taking that down now, because it's, I mean, hard to see everybody with it up. Or,
Do you still have that? Well,
yeah,
I'm
Sarah's
waiting to
screen
be
is still
recognized.
up.
I had my amended motion to share, so if I can be recognized, then I can.
Well,
try.
let me finish talking, and then, of course, you can be recognized.
So
But
are you still seeing the salaries on here then?
yes,
Okay.
that was what, you know. So what I was saying is, you know, we as a board have to decide, and I think that's something the future board should decide, you know, like whether or not the highway commissioner should be part or full-time. I mean, you can't pay the person
32,000.
Right, for what they're doing now. Like, that just isn't going to, it's not a full-time job of 24/7, you know, being on call for snowstorms, floods, and every other type of thing. So I think that that's a decision that has to be made, but I think that's also a decision that perhaps should be made by a later board. But
You
no,
can comment on that?
I'm not quite
We're
done.
gonna discuss your amended motion, I think. We're gonna get to
Right, we
that.
are.
Even
We are.
prior to
That's
getting to that, I
that's
just-
what's on the
I'm only
table.
one that-
But
have not
I
made a
think I
comment.
know, you know, like based on our previous amended motion, I think I know what it is.
Well, no, I just want to make a comment before I
Well,
even
I'm-
get to that.
All right, that's fine.
and-
But
and
wait,
Sharon-
no, Susan, I'm not done, please. Let's be civil. I'm just trying to finish. And with
Don't imply
respect,
that I'm not civil. I just haven't said one word yet.
no, but I'm just
I
trying to
raised my hand
finish.
several times. Thank you.
I know,
being
and I'm
civil.
gonna recognize you.
And I'm being civil. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so with respect to the assessor, they are incredibly busy and they bring in the most people to the township, frankly. And so it's the position, not the person. So, you know, and they have done an incredible amount of outreach seminars and worked very well with Dan Patlack and with his office. With respect to the trustees, none of that changed. So, which is interesting, but good. I think the trustees should make more. Frankly, I think the trustees do a lot of work when you keep up with board packets and you do all these extra meetings and, you know, before COVID, all these events that you go, you know, that people are expected to go to. And so that is what I want to say. I mean, I think that a rational basis, you know, is how we have been doing it. And there's nothing out of line in the salaries that are being proposed at all, with respect to the fact that we are the largest township with the most services. And now, Susan, you may be recognized.
Okay, thank you. Before I present what my amended motion is, I think in general, listening to this conversation, what I'd like to see, what I think as our township and looking at salaries is a city manager type of government where we have elected officials that are accountable to the taxpayer and that we don't have as much investment, I guess, in the actual salaries of elected officials and responsibilities, that is more, you know, the burden should be shifted if there is more work to be done to staff, because as elected officials, we're accountable to the taxpayer and we have more divided loyalties if we continue to keep and increase elected official salaries. We're really supposed to be, you know, accountable to the taxpayer and not in the same league as the employees are.
But
So
we are not,
I
just to
propose-
clear that up, we're not in a city manager
Excuse me, I'm
form.
not finished. And
But we aren't a city manager form of government.
but we also have elected officials that have a lot of responsibility, as we were just talking about with Wally or with the highway commissioner's job, you know, where is it a full-time or a part-time job? What I'm saying is I think you can have an elected official be more of an oversight position and accountable to the taxpayer and not as much of an employee or doing some of what could be shifted, and that budget money could be shifted to the employees to be accountable. That's what I mean by city manager type of government. So
This board hasn't necessarily wanted to increase employee salaries or increase positions though. So I was just thinking about that with respect to the highway commissioner position, because if you reduce him to part-time, then you'd have to hire someone else to perform those functions who would also have benefits. Then your current highway commissioner is not taking some of the benefits. I mean, so you're right. I mean, it can be done that way, but it's not necessarily cost savings to do it that way. And sometimes it costs more.
right, and it could depend. And
I don't
with
think
that, I'd
Wally
like to
is
make
out
my
there
amendment.
driving trucks and plowing roads.
Actually, this is why I say it's the position, not necessarily the person. And actually, you would be wrong. On some occasions, he is. You know, Bobby dying really did a hit on this, because Bobby was, you know, the foreman, was the person, you know, it's a very, very well, you know, low staffed highway department for what they do. And the prior highway commissioner actually, like, you know, and I think Wally did several times as well, during when we had the terrible snowstorm, they do go out with their people and they are up all night having to close certain roads and be on plow. And I know that, I mean, I know because I am and I deal with them. So,
Okay.
Oh, we
Can I
gonna,
make my amended a motion, please?
sure.
Okay. Okay, can you see that?
yep.
Okay, I'm going to read the resolution all the way through, and then we can have questions as it relates to this. I called it Resolution 1020 just because that's the month. We may need to change that. Setting compensation of township officials for the 4-year term beginning May 17, 2021, Maine Township, Cook County, Illinois. Whereas according to 60 ILCS 1/65-20, the compensation of township officers shall be set by the township at least 180 days before the beginning of the terms of office, whereas according to 60 ALCS 165-20, the compensation for the road district commission treasurer shall be fixed by the township board and shall not be less than $100 and more than $1,000 per year. Whereas according to 605 ILCS 5/6-207, the compensation of the highway commissioner shall be fixed by the township board at an annual salary of not less than $3,000 to be paid in equal monthly installments or a per diem amount for each day he or she is necessarily employed in the discharge of official duties. Whereas according to 35 ILCS 200-2-70, the compensation of the township assessor and collector shall be set by the township board at the same time, and we can eliminate collector for that. At the same time, the board sets the compensation of its township supervisor. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Board of Trustees of Maine Township that the compensation of the township officials for the 4-year term beginning May 17, 2021 and ending May 19, 2025, January 1, 2022 to January 1, 2026 for assessors and scratch collectors shall be as follows. These are the salaries I'm proposing. Supervisor salary effective for the following years, $26,000 for each year of this 4-year term. Road district treasurer, $1,000 annually paid to the supervisor. The township clerk, $20,000 for each year. And the township trustees, $5,000 each year. And then for the assessor, $20,000 for each year. The highway commissioner, $50,000 per year. And that was based on a full time that I am making this amendment. Section 2, which also deals with compensation and is in addition to Section 1, is for the township officials. In addition to the compensation outlined in Section 1, will receive the following benefits. Officials can participate in township's flexible spending account, plan at their own expense. Participating officials shall contribute via payroll deduction. There is no township contribution, no match or township contribution. B, officials may participate in Township 547 retirement plan at their own expense. Participating officials contribute via payroll deduction. There is no match or township contribution. C, officials may participate in the life insurance plan in which the township participates at their own expense. Participating officials pay for their own life insurance via payroll deduction. There is no match or township contribution. D, officials may participate in the township's group health insurance plan at their own expense. However, the official must reimburse the township monthly by the 15th day of the month for the township monthly bill for the coverage selected. Failure to make timely reimbursement payments will result in the removal of the official from the group health insurance plan. There is no match for township contribution. Officials may participate in the township's dental insurance plan at their own expense. There is no match or township contribution. F, officials shall not participate in the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund retirement program. And G, in addition to the above compensation, Maine Township elected officials shall be reimbursed for all properly audited out-of-pocket expenses expended on behalf of business of the township or in the fulfillment of the duties of the office in conformance with the requirements of the state law and township policy. And that we pass this, if we chose to vote on this today, the 14th day of October 2020 by the Board of Trustees of Maine Township. And therefore be it resolved and ordained that this resolution be and the same is hereby adopted by the Board of Trustees of the town of Maine, Cook County on this 14th day of October. So I am proposing that as an amendment that I would like to have voted on first.
Well, this is the first time I've seen it.
Yes, I've been working on putting this.
Well, how do you expect us to vote on a resolution like this that you just threw at us at the last minute? That's not reasonable.
Let me answer your question. If you recall, we've talked about these very issues over the last couple of meetings that we've had. So nothing is really, rocket science new here at all. I have suggested in section 2 that we address this issue and we make the elected officials make contributions and that there's no township match.
It's the same as you did
But
before.
Susan,
Only
you
difference
sprang a
in-
resolution on us at the last minute. You do this all the time.
This
You
is
don't
not-
give us enough
Kim
time to
Jones.
digest information.
All right,
I'm
guys.
speaking.
This is called preparation, Kim.
I think it's Susan.
You didn't
Susan's.
prepare.
This is not new to you at all.
Yes,
The
it
only
is. You didn't
thing-
send us the resolution.
The only
it
thing-
is.
Because
I'm gonna mute people. If you all do not stop behaving.
this is an amendment to Laura's
No.
motion. It's the same thing that we've been
Why
talking
would you,
about the
I'm
last couple of
asking
meetings.
Susan, why would you not send it ahead of time?
With
Right.
the, because
about
I was working
preparation.
on
I'm
getting
just
it.
asking, why would you not?
I was, you know what? Why are we not capable of doing this as a board? Let me ask you that way. We've been
Well,
talking about this.
Introduce this in July.
I
and-
thought I'd be doing everyone a favor. It seems like you just don't want this transparency. I don't know why you're.
There's no transparency
Talked
when you give
about
us
it the
a
last
resolution.
I think you got to raise your hand.
Yes, everybody's gonna be muted, literally, right now. And here's the deal. Now, Kim, this is the same that Susan proposed back in July. It did not get a second back then. The only difference in this is she raised because I have the one from back in July. And it was an oral amendment. I agree with you, Kim. It should have absolutely been given to the board, if she wanted to do an actual written resolution. However, we have continued this. So my point is that this is the same as what was, her amendment back then. It did not receive a second. It died for lack of a second. And, it really, basically says that, and I just want to be clear that there are no benefits. And so, the ability to participate in the Blue Cross is not a benefit. It is not a benefit. So I just want everybody to understand that really doesn't need to go. I mean, it's not a benefit. That's just not. So,
I disagree.
well, There is no, there's many plans, as we have learned, that can be, equally, I'm going to mute you while I talk because
Do I have a second to my amendment?
Second.
Thank you.
having a motion and a second. Now, Carrie Lynn, do we vote on the amendment first?
I don't think this is a
Yeah.
proper amendment. It appears to be an entirely different resolution.
Right.
This isn't like you're changing a word or a paragraph, so I think you need to vote on the first one and then vote on the second one, or if you want to.
No, we have to
Change
vote
one
on
of
the
the
amendment
existing ones.
though first.
Well,
I'm
no, because it's not.
But it's not
you're
an
saying
amendment.
Legally, it's not an amendment.
It's a completely different resolution.
It's
It's not like you're saying, okay, we're going to change $20,000 to $18,000. It's a total different resolution.
Okay, Laura's motion, let me get clarification on this, Carrie Lynn, was to set the salary as the same as last year, which compensation is twofold. It is the salary along with the benefits. I'm making an amendment. I don't know how you can say to the salary and to the benefit. So she's voting on the total compensation. If I can just finish, if she's voting on the total compensation, or what she brought forth was the total compensation identical to what we had the last 4-year term. I am asking to amend that total compensation package to the following.
I believe her motion was to pass the resolution she presented.
Correct.
Which is to,
and that's what's on the agenda.
Right.
Yes, which is the
This is not on the
resolution to last year.
But
That's
this resolution is not on the agenda. There's no notice to people. So in keeping with all of your transparency, this, what Carrie Lynn is saying, is not an amendment. That's what Kim was trying to say.
Do you want me to put up the old, 3-page agreement that we signed off on? I don't understand how I'm not making an amendment to exactly what you
I can't
proposed,
explain it
everything
any
to be
better than
identical
Carrie Lynn.
to what we did the last, not what this board did, but the 4-year term. And I'm making, with keeping all the compensation, whether it's the salary and the benefits, identical. That's what Laura proposed.
Do you have Laura's resolution in front of you?
This is not my resolution.
If you have
I did not know. This is
screen.
not my resolution. This is not, I proposed.
Yes, Vaisha sent out the resolution to everyone on Tuesday at 9:58. So
Where?
that is the resolution.
And we've had it for 4
It
years.
was,
It's the, like, everybody knows
We
what.
get that on the
salaries
screen?
are. I don't have it in front, I mean, it is, I'll get it from.
I have it. Here.
Okay. But the salaries are like 20,000 off and the benefits are gone.
Then
So-
I just want the right to vote on this proposal right now.
And
This-
what
my
Mary Lynn legally just said is that it's a completely separate resolution.
I don't know how it's separate. If we were to vote on what you proposed, Laura, we would be voting on the compensation, which includes salary, and it includes.
Those amounts, we would be voting
And
on the
includes-
amounts. That's what she's saying. We would be voting on the amounts. I properly noticed everybody up for July, since July. It has been on an agenda every single month.
What is
And
on the
Not
agenda?
a secret, no transparency issue. It has been in the board packet, how much we make. And
What is on the actual agenda is continuing discussions and vote on elected officials' compensation for the next 4-year term.
correct,
That's what we would be taking a vote on. Do we
yes, which
agree?
is continued from,
And your motion was to give the identical 4-year compensation term, and that's what you wanted to vote on. So if we all said yes, this resolution would be passing.
not this,
No, this resolution.
the one that we passed 4 years ago. but with a little bit different.
And now you're not allowing me to amend
I'm
that?
not the one saying, and that Carrie Lynn legally.
Carrie Lynn, I'm really.
May I speak, Laura?
Well, I'd like Carrie
Yes,
Lynn.
let's be here about
Yeah, thank you for the floor. Thank you for the floor. Looking at all this over, reading this all over, and the comments made by Carrie Lynn, you know, number one, I think the agenda is broad enough for us to hear this presented amendment. But number two is, the argument is that it's a counter proposal. And I think that would call for a vote on Laura's proposed resolution first, and then Susan second, because it's like you say, it's completely different from what was, we're not just changing a number or two. So that's what I would say. Vote on Laura's first and then see where that goes, and then on Susan.
I don't think that's following Robert's rules.
Well, I mean, that's just my, I have to look at what an amendment actually is, but I mean, this is like.
We're voting on compensation for a 4-year term. There's salary and
I'm
there's.
gonna mute you.
Oh, then that's just my suggestion, that we should vote on Laura's first, but that's just, I mean, that's based on Robert's rules, I think, but I may be wrong.
No, that's what Carrie Lynn, trustee Jones.
Okay, first of all, with regard to transparency, if there was an interest to be transparent, we would have received this resolution in writing, and it would have been posted in the packet, and it would have been posted online. So to say that accuse me of not wanting to be transparent, or any other board member, is really, really despicable. And this is not the first time. This is a habit that trustee Sweeney has.
But it didn't happen. I know, Susan, it didn't happen.
Excuse
I'm
me.
saying it didn't happen.
Wow.
No one accused me of not being transparent. I don't know where that's coming from. I think we should just get down to.
Susan said it. Excuse me, Dave, if you were listening, trustee Sweeney.
I was listening, and no, she didn't.
Yes, she did. We can run back the tape. It's on video. But anyway, you're interrupting. I have the floor.
Please, I don't want to fight. Let's just get this done.
And to bring forth something because we didn't receive any resolution in writing when we've had 3 meetings about this.
You have never presented this to us in writing.
And I was still working on this.
Excuse me, if you want, I am speaking, Susan.
For a discussion.
Why don't you follow Robert's rules and yield the floor like you should be?
What would you like to do, Kim? Where's your, where?
I would like,
I don't see you doing any of the homework that I do to come prepared.
Because your
I am
homework,
prepared,
Susan, has always got some sort of strange agenda that comes last minute before the board, like your
agenda.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. Like
I know.
the last time.
Then stop using the terminology.
Rich, I need you to put the muting thing back in my hand. Everybody really is going to be muted because you guys are disgraceful, really. Yeah,
I'm trying to make a statement, and I continue to be interrupted by trustee Sweeney and trustee Carabota.
Because you're using foul language.
I haven't used any foul language. You just don't like it.
Oh my God. Okay, here's what I'm going, we're going to either vote on mine and then convene another special meeting to vote on Susan's, or we're gonna table the whole damn thing for another week and do it together. Because I do think you can't produce something so drastically different at the last minute that, I do. And I think the public has a right to know. And I think that we have a right to know. And so, having said this,
we had an amendment and a second. So if you don't like the way I phrased my amendment, I can amend what
you said. It wasn't illegal.
And that vote comes first. And that's Robert rules.
Hang on. You just want to interrupt.
Because you're going to take a vote, Laura. That's why.
Rich, are you there, Rich? And I need this share screen. Okay.
My amendment is a different salary.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should, Carrie Lynn, maybe, I don't know.
Carrie Lynn, what would you?
So generally people would have the ability to make an amendment. I totally agree with that. The problem here is that it's not let's say what you had here. Let's try to make this like 7th grade constitution stuff. Let's say you guys had a document and it was called Resolution A. And what it was the Bill of Rights. And you got to a board meeting and someone said, okay, I want to amend the contents of Resolution A so that instead it's the Constitution. If it's so different than what people were originally contemplating, it's really a different document, even though it has the same name. So, I mean, I think maybe the best thing here, we have the elected officials here. This is what the issue is that I have. We have the elected official salary ordinance in writing that Doreen sent everybody, right? Do you guys
I
have
don't
that?
think she did, but it's been on the same ordinance for 4 years. I mean, it's on the website. It's public. It was in July. So it's been continued from time to time. But the problem,
I can't find it.
on the website,
Then maybe what we need to do then really, I mean, if nobody
it's
actually
definitely on the
has, or
website.
if
It's
it's
just under
unclear.
financials. It's under a different thing. So, and then it had an amendment. So instead of having an amendment, I mean, months later, it had an amendment. Months later. So, but Carrie Lynn and I were emailing about it, you know, just changing that language to encompass it, and then she was out of town. So that's why I am suggesting, for everybody's clarity, because I can't listen to everybody yelling at everybody. I've already got a migraine. I refuse to do it. To listen to everybody yell at everybody. And you know, we have till November 18th is our final date. It really doesn't, you know, I'm gonna have Karen Lynn speak to this, but it doesn't affect me personally, one way or the other. So I just want like this to be good government and everybody just not yelling at everybody. And Karen Lynn, I know you wanted to speak.
Well, based on what I'm hearing here, I think the best thing, and also having litigated township official salary issues before, when people say, you know, in years I've not paid what I should have been, we should make sure that everybody's on the same page. We need a resolution in writing. We need the resolution to be listed on the agenda and to pass it out. And if there's going to be different versions, everybody should have those in enough time to look at them. So, I mean, can we just do a special meeting in 2 nights or something to just have this topic on
I'm
there?
not available in 2 nights, but what about Wednesday, the 21st?
Can I ask a question? Can I make an amendment to Laura's motion that's more specified, that I would like a different salary amount and a different compensation amount? You're not allowing for any amendment to anything that Laura wanted to vote on tonight? Is that what I'm hearing?
saying is, I don't think we can amend a motion with a resolution.
Okay.
So I think what we need to do.
My amended motion calls for different salary amounts and calls for elected officials to get benefits, but without township contribution. So
as mirrored and as you've already presented in this document, but you're making that as an amendment to the original.
I'm making that as amendment.
You're not going to proceed on your own. Yeah.
Amendment. I don't know how you.
And then the written document should be
denied from making an amendment.
No. And then we vote on the amendment now. And if Claire seconds it, then we vote on it.
I'm voting to make the supervisor's salary $26,000, the township clerk's salary $20,000, the trustees $5,000, the assessor $20,000, and the highway commissioner $50,000, and the compensation for the township officials to participate in the healthcare plan without a township contribution, and to also eliminate participation in the IMRF. That's my amendment. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, Laura, I can't hear you. Oh, no.
We can't hear.
We can't hear you, Laura. I'm sorry. Oh, no. Here we go. Can you reboot or something? I don't think, oh, no, you're not muted. We should have like music in the background or something. No, not yet. Mm-mm. This happened when I was on my phone the last time. All of a sudden, the sound just went away. Doesn't look good. So she's fine. No sound.
This is really awful. Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm on, right?
Susan?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you, Claire. I heard Dave.
I have such terrible internet connection and I can't, there's no number to call in on the Zoom instructions that I can find.
Okay, I can tell you that because I took a picture of it. Do you want it?
You have the phone number?
I texted it to you. Oh, phone number? I
Okay.
thought you meant the meeting ID.
Unless you just
Yeah,
try
I have the
rebooting.
meeting, like, you know, to get on the Zoom, but I can't, I tried
Can
to
you guys
call in.
now?
Now we can hear you, Laura.
Okay,
Laura,
so I know, I'm back. Here's the thing. I'm
oh,
going,
you're bouncing. Your
Now
voice is
you're on
bouncing.
2.
yeah, because hang on, guys, relax. I'm gonna leave this one over here.
Trying to.
God, all right. So here, you know, I don't
Oh,
want
very good.
to having this bad connection. Does anybody have a problem with both the original and amended motions? We can put them on writing to next Tuesday. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Yes, I'd like to take a vote tonight.
I would too, because we really gotta.
We
I
lost
don't see
Claire.
why we
I'd like
can't
to-
take a vote.
would-
I made an amendment. It
Wait,
got a
what?
second.
I
We've
know
had
it's
discussion.
you're
We
still
are
gonna
to
be
vote on
there.
it.
It's still gonna be there. It's not.
Yeah, but my schedule's like.
I don't have a problem with it. I think we should continue it. Maybe Susan can provide us something in writing that we could actually read.
No, we can read it. I see
Well,
it.
can we get the
Yeah,
side
those
by
shots. Let's just do
sides
it.
at least if we're gonna, without getting the, then I don't know how we can vote tonight if we can't even see the two side by
I
side.
don't either.
Well, you can vote on my amendment. We
I
had.
Right.
tried to get
presented
it
by
on the
Laura, other
website.
than a
I
verbal.
can't find it.
Okay, wait. We were going to be prepared to vote, and Laura did not have a resolution prepared, other than what was the resolution was 4 years ago, which is this. That's
Right.
what we were going to vote on.
What
Now I presented
is this?
something else, which
you're
is just simply the same issues of
With
looking
no
at salary
benefits.
and looking at benefits. And the only thing I think I added is IMRF, and that's it.
The only thing that's on the table is
So
not Susan's,
either
it's
you
not
agree,
Susan's,
which I got a
is
second
not Susan's resolution. What's on the table is Susan's amendment, seconded by Claire. And I think we can vote on that tonight. See where
Continue
that
when
goes.
all of us are not,
No,
we don't have a
can't. I
good
wanted,
connection.
Okay. So then I'm gonna motion to table it to the regular board meeting.
Second,
No, you
Let me
can't
have
put up a
motion and a
table that
second,
just because you
then
don't want to
there is no
vote. There's
discussion.
specificity to that in Robert's rules. You can't just table something because you don't
Yeah.
want to vote now.
Right.
We need a vote on
there's
it.
specificity of people interrupting others also.
No, Kim, in all fairness, it's really because everybody keeps having a bad internet connection. Claire wants them side by side. I don't blame her. I want to give you the 4-year-old one, like, in writing. And a motion to table is not debatable. You guys have each done it, okay? Each of you have done
Not
it.
in the middle of a
No,
vote.
there's
You can't do it in the middle of a vote.
Carrie
Yes, you
Lynn,
can.
there is a Robert's rules,
Can't do that.
and I don't have that handy to know, but you probably do.
Because you're making it up.
Motion to table because you don't like the outcome or you don't want.
Right, you can't do that.
I
You gotta
can't.
take the vote.
It isn't what I'm doing.
Carrie Lynn is
We
on
can't hear you.
mute, so we can't hear her.
Yeah, we can't hear our lawyer because we can't get her off mute. This is like a complete and utter. Whoa, now I lost everybody.
So here's the thing, okay? All right. First of all, you need to have a compensation ordinance in writing. So you need it in writing because it's not just the compensation, it's the health insurance, it's the benefits, it's everything. Don't just do it by emotion. And what you're trying to do tonight is amend a motion, which we're still going to have a resolution anyway. We're having internet connection problems. I just got kicked out of the meeting. I'm hearing, there were 2 Lauras for one moment on there. Claire can't hear us. She keeps going in and out. So I think the safest thing, I don't know that there's an emergency tonight that this has to be processed, when what we can do is, take a deep breath and either have a special meeting where it's not a procedural problem or have it on the next regular board meeting agenda. Both are still within the time period. Everyone can see everyone else's in writing. And if someone else wants to come up with another one in writing before then everybody can have it.
I'd like a package on
That's-
this because you just denied me the right to make an amended motion and vote on it without
There's a
reason.
motion to table.
Yeah.
That's not debatable.
Yeah.
She made a motion to table. That's not debatable. That needs to be
Not
voted
after-
on first.
To defer a decision that's already,
You have a pending motion and subject to vote, and then they make a move to table. I don't think you can do that.
no, there's restrictions on motion to table. You can't just table everything after you don't like the amendment and you don't want to take a vote. That's not the way it works.
We
That's not
agreed this is a
Robert's
proper
rules.
amendment.
Thank you for the edification, but it is not debatable.
Well, that's what's happening.
Yeah, you
That
can't-
I am still the supervisor for 5 months, 4 days, 2 hours and 30 seconds. So maybe it's a few more months. So Clerk Gilamas, will you call the roll on the motion to table?
There we go. Supervisor Marask,
Yes.
Trustee Jones,
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie,
Yes.
Trustee Carabota,
No,
Trustee Sweeney.
No. And for the record, I want this read into the minutes and attached to the minutes.
What is this? What
I
are we-
want both the resolution that I presented as well as the salary table that was updated by Dana today.
Of course.
we just put it over to, I guess it goes, because I'm looking at the schedule, just to put it on the next board meeting. Because I've had how many meetings so far?
Can we put this on another special meeting? Because otherwise we're gonna run into the same last couple meetings. It's late and this is really important. And I think that what Carrie Lynn said makes a lot of sense, that we should have the 2 motions or whatever, 3 motions, whatever we're considering, side by side in writing. And they should be in, they should be total encompassing with all of the health insurance, no IMRF, or all of that, so that it's clear what apples to apples.
No,
Right.
when.
So what does everybody look like for the 21st or 22nd?
I wanted to ask something. If you have 2 proposals presented on the next meeting, and heaven forbid it's a special meeting, but it's presented on a special meeting or whatever, we could still make amendments to what's presented. Correct?
Yes, you can make, yes, if you want to, so let's say trustee Sweeney presents a resolution and you all like it, but you want to change two of the salaries. You make a motion to amend that on its face, you have it there, it's in writing, it's clear. Or that's my problem tonight. Nobody has the document that they're working from in front of them, and we're doing a whole different thing. So yeah, it can be amended under the usual way. It's just a problem for tonight, the way
You
it's
want
worded on
me
the agenda. And
No,
I mean,
hold on.
I can put this up. Do we want this? Is this what we want?
We literally.
not going to help us for tonight.
Okay, so we've already voted on the motion to table. We're just trying to, as I do agree with Claire, that it would be much better on its own because we will run into the same problem. And October is going to have approval of the FEMA. It's going to have approval. I mean, October has the levy. October has a lot of things. So, you know, it's, you know, I mean, it's, if it's on its own, by itself, with everything due in, you know, the normal 3-4 days beforehand, then we should be able to vote one way or the other. And so it won't be, you know, a long, and hopefully our township internet will be fixed and each of us can figure out what's wrong with our personal internet, because I don't know why mine just went out. Is there a day next week that anybody is good with? Like Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday? I feel like
I can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I'm looking at maybe Friday, the 23rd.
I can do Friday the 23rd.
Do Friday, the 23rd.
Kim, can you do Friday the 23rd?
I can't do Friday. I can do any other day.
How about the 22nd?
Wait, hang on one sec. How about, hang on, people. I mean, if you're
Excuse me.
Friday, you know, we can do Friday the 6th.
I can do Friday.
Well, we want everybody, you know, we're not going to pick a date that everybody is not.
Right.
So what about November, you know, first week of November?
We have an agency funding meeting on the 5th.
Well, not that date.
Right.
Well, what about
I can do
October
Monday the
20?
2nd. No.
Let's do the,
27th, 28th.
I could do the October 22nd, I guess I could do that.
Okay, what about you?
Claire
Kim?
can make
Kim,
it,
You're good
so.
on that, Claire?
I
What about you?
cannot do that day.
No? Okay.
On the
What about the
22nd?
21st?
So the 21st is bad.
21st I can do.
Yeah,
Okay,
can't do that.
Kim?
Can't do
You
that
can't.
one.
What day are we talking about?
Never mind.
So November, first week in November, you said,
Yeah, first week in
Well,
November. You know,
what's-
we've got agents. Listen, guys, how about November 4th?
Wait a minute. Did we just skip
Yeah,
over the last week of
Yeah, well,
We
I'm
just
not going to
skipped-
be available the last week of October if my police,
Okay.
I mean, if you read the newspaper today, you would know why, but I don't mean you, I don't mean it like that.
What
but
about the 20th, the
Right.
second to last week? What about the 20th?
That's what I've been trying to do, but everybody
Yeah,
said they
the
could do it.
20th is
or
fine with
20th,
me.
I'm available both those days.
So I would say November 6th.
I'm
I'm
available
good
the
for October
19th or
20th
20th.
or November 6th. Wait.
19th or 20th is good for me.
Yeah, I can't
I
do those
can't,
days.
Me
I can't do
too.
those days.
Dave can't and Claire can't. So,
Okay.
so November
think-
4th or November 6th.
6th would be cool.
But, well, let's see. We need our lawyer, Kim, Susan, Pete, Claire.
November
Which
4th, we
day?
already have the agency funding.
No,
No, we're
November
talking
6th,
about-
6th, 6th.
November 6th.
Yeah, that's.
What time?
I can do November 6th.
Yeah, I can do it.
Like 5 or something, or what time?
Yeah,
no.
let's try this at 5. Would
5
that
I
work?
can't, no, 5 I can't do. I'm in the car, so I could do, earliest I could do is 6 o'clock.
Okay. All right,
Oh,
can
again,
everybody,
Fridays, I mean, all right, I mean, I
Let's-
think the
that way we
4th
get it
is
done.
better.
I can't do the 4th.
Fridays are like,
So 6 o'clock, you say?
are bad.
and nobody can do it during the day, right? Or can,
All right.
I
no.
can
What
do
about,
Thursday on the 6th.
Why not at a regular board meeting first to try?
no, that's the problem, Viesha. Every single board meeting, it's been tabled or because it takes forever.
Well, but the thought is, Laura, if we took a shot at it at the regular board meeting, but we can always
Well,
then,
we can take a shot, but let's pick this date.
yeah, let's do the 6th at 6. And we put it on the board meeting as well. And see, that's a good idea. There you go. And then maybe we can knock it out at the board meeting. No one wants to come on the 6th.
No, we really do have to figure this out. Hey, I have a question, guys, given that it is by Zoom. And I mean, I'm working full time. I know many of you are. Is it possible for anybody to do it during the day? So you're not,
No.
Just
I can.
So November 6th would be the backup day. How about that for 6 o'clock?
Well, I really hate doing it. What was wrong with November 5th?
right, exactly.
We
Well, that's
have
our agency
Friday's
funding
a
day.
hard day for people.
Prepare twice.
funding.
I'm sorry?
Agency funding is November 5th.
Right.
Oh, somehow it didn't make my calendar.
Do I have the wrong date? Wait, I have it for the 4th and the 5th. Hold on, maybe I have it wrong.
No, it's the 5th.
It's the 5th, so it's not the 4th.
Right.
Okay, so the 4th I could do it, but Dave, you weren't available, right?
I can't do the 4th,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna throw one more suggestion, guys. All right. November 12th. We're gonna cut it close, but we're gonna stay here till it's done.
I can make it.
Fine with me.
What was that? November what?
November 12th. Far enough out, like, really, people.
So is that November 12th?
I mean, Claire?
I can't do November 12th. I mean, I would have to like do a lot of changing around. I have another
No.
meeting. What's
Okay.
wrong with the
Let's do
6th?
6th at 6. How
Well,
about that?
Fridays are tough. I'll be perfectly honest. They're
Wait,
tough.
what?
I said Fridays are tough.
Oh, Friday's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I can do it if I have to, but I would prefer much earlier, but Dave can't do earlier, so.
Yeah, we can do, if we did 6th at 6 o'clock, we could do Moretti's and social.
What about doing it on a Sunday?
Oh, no.
No,
Sunday.
public, yeah, you
You mean
can't do
eight?
that.
Oh, that's right, we can't. Okay.
Yeah, okay, one more try.
All right,
Tuesday,
if
November-
everyone wants, if
Tuesday,
everyone wants to do
November
it on
10th.
November 6th.
Tuesday,
Okay,
November
10th.
10th.
That works for me.
Claire,
That works for me.
Carrie
Yes,
Lynn.
works for me.
All right. Oh my God, I might have it.
Wait, did
Claire,
Dave say
Carrie Lynn.
yes?
Tuesday, November 10th.
Dave, are you in?
It's terrible, but I can do it. I was browbeaten.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, come on, Dave. It's okay.
They all piled on me.
Yeah. All right.
How
Carrie
late
Lynn,
can,
she's
but how
muted.
late can we go on the 10th? How late can we go? Can
We should have this done.
No. Can we do 6:30 on the 10th?
Yeah.
6:30 on the 10th.
Carrie Lynn, she's muted and I don't know how to unmute her. Will somebody, I'll text her. I don't think she can hear me.
Okay,
Okay.
give it a thumbs up. We got a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Oh, have a day.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Well, so it's
special
what day is it on the 10th?
10th at 6:30.
Yes.
At 6?
6:30. 6:30.
6:30?
All proposed
And
resolutions.
can we get the side-by-side proposals like tomorrow?
Yes, and anybody else tomorrow? Probably not.
No.
By the end of the week, yes.
Now I have one more question.
Always.
Can we put it on? We put it on the special meeting just for the heck of? I mean, the regular board meeting and give it a shot
No.
too. Darn it. I was trying.
I know you are. No. Really. Like, no.
I missed it.
That's what?
I said, what I was hoping is that we put it on the regular
Whatever
board
Dave
meeting.
I don't
that you're
also.
understand why
laughing
we
at.
can't actually. Do we have that much to do? Is that, I mean, we should have it.
Yes, we do. And as Claire pointed out, this causes like hours of conversation, whether you have it
It
or
shouldn't.
don't. It's
We all
still
do
gonna
our homework
cause.
and look at it. Should just be a
Yeah,
vote.
okay. I know, you know, Susan, it's comments like that that I think like people
Well,
think.
we've had
may
4
not be
meetings. I guess
civil.
that's why I'm saying, I just feel like.
Literally, this is the first one I've tabled, okay?
Okay, so we're gonna
So,
adjourn.
we are adjourning and we are doing November 10th at 6:30. And all written resolutions will be in by November 1st. It's 10 days, guys. That should be enough time to read. And anybody wants to propose.
Can't hear.
Can't hear you.
Oh, how did
There
it
you go.
happen?
No, we
now
can't.
we-
No, we can hear you now.
All right, what I said is all resolutions in writing by November 1st. Anybody who wants to propose, we've got Susan's. I'll make sure mine is in writing with every detail spelled out. And if anyone else wants to propose one, have at it, but have it in by November 1st. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
10
Yes.
days.
I have really bad connection again, so I only heard like a couple words, but I think you're saying all proposals need to be in by November 1st.
Yes.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that we can still make amendments, as Carrie Lynn said, to whatever has been presented.
Correct. All right. And we are adjourned. Wait, Pete. Can you
All in
take a vote
favor
on
of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Bye. Bye, Alice Bailey. Thank you.